Dallas. I'm Jenny Tapchi with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, guys. Good morning.
Why you got on that comment? Copying me. You know, I'm the first one with no tie.
Are you self-conscious that you come over to the dark side over here? Now you don't wear a tie?
I'll be back at the tie tomorrow. I'll be back at the tie tomorrow.
Because a tie is like kissing your sister, is that right?
I'll be back at the tie the next 2 days.
Okay.
I think you
look great like that.
Yeah, I like the look. I like the look. I feel like, you know, Skip, you're inspiring something from Shannon. Interesting. Guys, we are just a little bit away from the draft. We're just over 2 weeks away, so we got to talk about it, including Justin Fields. So at one point, Fields was widely regarded as the second best prospect behind Trevor Lawrence on many big boards, but the Ohio State quarterback stock has begun to trickle down a bit, with some now looking at him as only the fifth best quarterback behind Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance. Fields is having his second pro day today, and the 49ers, Patriots, Jets, Falcons, Broncos, and Panthers are all reported to be in attendance. So, Shannon, what does this tell you?
Well, Skip, this is why if you have a high grade and you're able to come out, that's why you come out. Because there's nothing that can good by you going back to school is that your value, they'll find another way to pick you apart. Because I think that's what they do, Skip. They just tell you all the things and find all the reasons that they shouldn't draft you is how they're going to draft you. But, Skip, I don't have a problem with it because I think they're getting another look. It's kind of like, this is a huge investment. It's kind of like when you buy a house. You just make sure, okay, hon, are you sure this is the type of kitchen that you want? You like the island. You like the cabinetry. You like the bathroom. You like everything about it, Skip. This is a huge investment that we're about to undertake. Somebody's about to make a huge investment. Now, there are a couple of teams, Skip, that's back that in order to get a Justin Fields, you're going to have to move up. And when you move up, that you add pressure. When you move up to select a player, your fan base, that front office, your owner, like, okay, you moved up. Now, we mortgaged a little bit on the back end to take this guy on the front end, so you need to be right. So I don't really have a problem with this, Skip. It's just like, okay, we're going to make sure that what we saw on tape, that the throws, the footwork, and everything is spot on. So I don't really have a problem with it. I'm looking at the teams, the Broncos, they need a quarterback. 49ers, obviously, we know they're going to take a quarterback. But when you look at the Patriots, Skip, the Patriots would have to move up. I just don't believe at where they're sitting at 15, they're going to be able to get one of these quarterbacks at the 15. So they're going to have to move up and trade. And considering what they spent in free agency, and now, so not only did you spend $150, $175 million in free agency, you're going to sacrifice, you know, next year's first-round pick and maybe even a third or something to move up into this selection. So I don't have a problem with it. I think the first two guys off the board is going to be Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. And so now we go to that third slot. The 49ers moved up. They were, 10, 9, 10? They were down a little, 12.
12.
When you move up to 3 spot.
They gave a ton to move up.
22 and 23 first rounders.
Yep.
Skip, you got to be right.
You better be right.
Hey, anybody else having a pro day? Because I'm going to go look at them again, too, Skip. I'm going to make sure everything is on the up and up, and I make sure I get this thing right. So I don't really have a problem with it. Guys are just doing their due diligence. But for me, Skip, I think I'm in your camp. I like these guys. I don't know if I'm in love with any of them. I think that's where I am, and I don't know, you know, I guess Trevor Lawrence has been the unanimous, for the most part, he's on most everybody's board. He's the #1 prospect. So we don't even really discuss him because everybody knows he's going to Jacksonville. But 2 through 6, 2 through 5, it's a toss-up. But I don't have a problem with this because they're just going to make sure Justin Fields is what they believe he is.
And by the way, I'm not completely sold on Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Not all the way completely 1,000% he's going to be a star.
Right.
Okay. Back to pro days. I'm going to reiterate my position on this. Pro days are simply the biggest waste of time in all of sports, the most irrelevant exercise in all of sports. You can have them all, is a pro day. I will give you a combine because at least you're thrown into a mix with your peers competing for draft slots.
Right.
And you can watch body language of the quarterbacks are all in a group, and you can see who's the alpha, who takes over, whose body language stands out. Which one of those guys looks like he's the guy among the guys, right?
Yep.
Okay, I will give you that because there's actually some competition going on, and then you've got 40-yard dash competition, you got bench press competition. You can see them kind of compete against each other, albeit in shorts and T-shirts.
Correct.
When you get to a pro day, all the benefit is that it's a smokescreen opportunity for every team to show up at the pro day or not show up at the pro day to try to lead or mislead the rest of your competition as to what you're going to do.
Well, Skip, you get an extra day use of the private jet. So I think that's what they be wanting.
They do that for a fact. But think about a pro day. As you and I have agreed for years and years, the tape doesn't lie.
Right.
All you need to do is study the tape. Watch these kids in their biggest games of the year.
Right.
How do they perform against competition?
Right.
These pro days are shorts and T-shirts throwing to their receivers on their turf against air.
Right.
No defense.
Right.
And it proves what?
I agree with you, Skip. I do believe that the quarterback pro day is the most wasted pro day. At least, Skip, if it's a wide receiver or DB or any other position, Skip, the tape, I'm looking at the tape, but I want to make sure that I watch him. I mean, he looked fast on tape.
Okay.
Dude just ran 4.3. He looks explosive. He got a 40-inch, 11-foot broad jump. Skip, you want the pro day to match what you saw on tape.
Yeah.
I don't know if you necessarily get that at a quarterback. So, because what, 40? He ain't going to be ready to run no shuttle. He ain't going to be standing long jump. Why does the quarterback need to be explosive?
I guess you can only hurt yourself if you're a quarterback because Teddy Bridgewater infamously came out wearing
no gloves.
No gloves, right? There was no gloves?
Right.
I can't remember his gloves or no gloves.
He threw with a glove in college, but then his pro day, he threw without it. And
he had a bad day.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he had a fight with his girlfriend the night before. Who knows what could happen? Okay, so you're a little off. But if Justin Fields misses one deep throw, oh, my God.
Yeah.
He looks like a second-round pick to me. No, he doesn't. Watch the tape. Look at the numbers. See what he did. Okay, now, big picture. This is turning into as fascinating a quarterback draft as I can ever remember because they're all so close to each other.
Correct.
Again, I don't hate any of them. I've told you before, like Drew Lock, I just didn't like him coming in. I said no to Drew Lock, and I think he'll be forever hanging over your head in Denver. He's not the answer. I told you Dwayne Haskins preceding Justin Fields at Ohio State. I just didn't like him. I just didn't see enough. I didn't see the right body language, and he just can't hack it. But these kids all got a chance. But I'm not just bona fide sold on any of them. I don't dismiss them, but what does history scream at you about these 5 players?
Well, the 3 of them is not going to be very good.
That's correct. Because I saw a stat the other day. 42% of all first-round quarterbacks ever drafted never made it to a second contract with the team that drafted them. That's almost half the quarterbacks failed with the team that drafted them. That doesn't mean they didn't go on someplace else and do okay. See Ryan Tannehill, right?
Yeah, but that don't do anything for me. I'm the one that drafted you. I needed you to have that success with me, not somewhere else.
Okay, well, that's unfathomable to me that the odds are half will miss. So of the 5, 3 could, or at least 2. At least 2 are going to be swings and misses. Okay, so let's quickly run through the order. Justin Fields. Okay, the QBR was sensational. It was second only to Mac Jones's. And the ability to run with the ball, it's not, I'm not talking about Michael Vick here, but he timed 4.45. And that was the fastest time since any quarterback draftable in the first round of a first-round possibility since RG3. Is that pretty? That's pretty great. Okay, I'll buy that. But the 2 games that stick in our craw are, we saw the Indiana game, and it became a shootout. It was 42-35, and he threw 3 interceptions, and it troubled me. It bothered my eyes to watch the game. And then Northwestern really bothered me because you could write it off as he just had a bad day at the office, and maybe he did. But, man, the numbers of the Northwestern game are 12 of 27 for 114, no touchdowns, 2 picks, a QBR of 33 on a scale of 0 to 100. That's a bad game in a big game.
Yeah, in college, Skip, a quarterback shouldn't have below 60.
Okay. Okay, then I saw him against Clemson 2 years ago, and he was blah. And then he bounced back against Clemson this year. And he threw 6 touchdowns.
And that kind of like, okay, yeah, he's the second pick in the draft. After that game, you heard everybody say, yeah, he's the second best quarterback.
If I just showed you that tape,
right,
you might be talking about the first pick.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and then he caps it off with the game against Alabama. It was just another blowout game, and they were overmatched, obviously, across the ball.
He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't like...
He didn't light it up. And Alabama just took the game over, and Devontae Smith just owned the whole night, right? Okay, so what do I do with those 2 troubling games, really 3 troubling games, where you just say, okay, so what? Well, here's what. The rest of it is so great to me. That once Mel Kiper yesterday posted his latest mock and had New England trading from 15, as you point out, all the way up to 10, where my Cowboys are sitting, the proposal would be give my Cowboys their 1 next year. Cowboys would move back to 15 and take whichever DB is left, but you're not going to probably get Patrick Surtain. Mel had him taking J.C. Horn. Caleb Farley probably still sitting there, and he got good medicals back yesterday for his microdiscectomy that he had, you know, his back surgery. And he sounds like they say 100%. But the point is, to go up to 10 to get Justin Fields, and I'm thinking, is Justin Fields really going to last to 10? Seriously. I asked that very serious question.